This was murder.
Day 2 of deliberations, all eyes on Minneapolis as a jury sorts out details of the country's most high-profile civil rights case. Now cities across the country are preparing for response to that final verdict.
A congresswoman protesting the death of Daunte Wright, what she told demonstrators that could have a big impact on another case, the Derek Chauvin murder trial.
And a controversial anti-riot bill is now law in Florida, how it could still end up in the courts.
And still tracking rain and some thunderstorms outside this morning. We're going to take a closer look at your gloomy Tuesday ahead.
It's a new day. This is CBS 12 News This Morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Lincoln.
I'm Ashley Glass. It's a busy morning here. We're going to help you get it through. A lot to talk about. Rain on the radar. The storms are here, making for a messy morning commute.
And we've also been seeing some issues on the road this morning. We'll get to Sam in a second, but let's start with Lauren.
Yeah, a bit of a rainy start out there for us this morning. I do want to start by taking a look at an image that was sent to us from yesterday afternoon of this awesome shelf cloud. This was in Okeechobee from one of our viewers, Jeffrey. He sent this in to us yesterday afternoon. Hey, if you ever catch awesome weather outside and you can safely take a photo, send it to us because we want to see it. We're going to see more storms moving across the area today. We're already dealing with storms across our area. For your morning drive, we've got rain in Boca right now, up and down I-95, all the way up into Boynton Beach. Heavier rainfall across northern Palm Beach County, Jupiter, West Palm, Riviera Beach, Wellington. We've got some downpours moving through. Showers also moving across St. Lucie County, moving into Fort Pierce as we speak. Heavier downpours developing up near Fellsmere and moving through Sebastian right now. So more rain is going to be developing. You'll see to our southwest, all of that heavy rainfall is going to keep moving across the area today. A bit of a gloomy start out there for us, and we're going to continue to see mostly cloudy skies too. We'll talk more about the rest of your day still ahead. Right now, though, we'll send it over to Sam for a check on that drive.
Yeah, that rain has been making for a tough drive this morning. I've been tracking crashes since about 4 o'clock this morning. They do have a little bit of good news in that some of the accidents we're seeing right now have cleared up. So if you're in Boca Raton, westbound Glades Road was shut down at Dixie Highway. We did send one of our photographers to the scene there, but that has cleared up. So Glades Road is open for your drive as you head out in Boca Raton. And on I-95 in Boynton Beach, we are also clear here northbound just after Hypoluxo Road. We had 2 lanes blocked, an accident involving a semi, but we are up to speed there, moving at about 65 miles an hour. Traffic Tracker 12 is also keeping an eye on your drive. This is what it looks like out there this morning. It is a very tough one. This is north through the Delray Beach area on the interstate. So as you head out this morning, take it slow, give yourself some extra time. Right now, though, Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast, we are accident-free.
This morning, Derek Chauvin's fate's in the hands of the jury.
The former Minneapolis police officer could be facing 3 charges in the death of George Floyd, adding up to 40 years behind bars. The prosecutors argued Chauvin killed George Floyd by excessive use of force. Defense attorneys say Floyd's death was a result of a heart condition, drug use, or carbon monoxide poisoning. They argue that jurors need to examine what happened before Floyd was pinned to the ground. That's something prosecutors quickly fired back on.
This was not an accident. He did not trip and fall and find himself upon George Floyd's knee and neck. He did what he did on purpose.
The jurors deliberated about 4 hours before retiring for the night, and they're set to resume again this morning.
And as we wait on a verdict, the judge said in court yesterday there could be grounds to overturn this trial.
That's right, and let's head over to the live desk now with Kara Duffy. Kara, the threat to the case all stemming from a comment that a California congresswoman made?
That's right. Congresswoman Maxine Waters accused of enticing violence before a verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial. Over the weekend, Representative Waters was in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, protesting the death of Daunte Wright. He's the 20-year-old who was recently killed during a traffic stop when an officer allegedly mistook her gun for a taser. During the protest there, the Congresswoman was heard telling protesters to continue and then called for the jury to issue a guilty verdict in the Chauvin murder trial. Take a listen.
We got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Now, Derek Chauvin's defense asked the judge for a mistrial over the weekend because of those comments that were made by Representative Waters. They argued the comments were threats against the sanctity of the jury process. The judge, though, denied the motion for a mistrial, but conceded that those comments could be grounds for an appeal. Ashley.
Told the jury to come up with a just verdict regardless of any consequences. And as the nation waits, cities across the country, they're bracing for any fallout here. Take a look. Businesses in Oakland, Philadelphia, Beverly Hills, they're all boarding up. In Washington, D.C., hundreds of National Guards troops are in place, along with local police. In Minneapolis, where this trial's happening, protests have already erupted.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
Protesters took to the streets as the jury went into deliberations. Demonstrations calling for a guilty verdict.
In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is getting ahead of any potential chaos by signing a controversial anti-riot bill into law.
This new law stiffens penalties for crimes committed during a riot, but free speech advocates argue this is unconstitutional.
And CBS 12 News' Jay O'Brien spoke with attorneys trying to stop this law in its tracks and explains what happens next.
Yeah, the law took effect immediately when it was signed on Monday. Now, if someone is arrested for breaking the law during a violent protest, they could face much more serious criminal penalties, along with a number of other things, like spending extended time in jail for people arrested during any gathering police deem a riot. Governor DeSantis and Republican allies say it's necessary, this law, to prevent future demonstrations from turning violent in Florida. But opponents warn it's vague and could have a chilling effect on free speech, convincing people not to come out and peacefully protest for fear that they could be arrested.
There's nothing in this 60-page bill that makes it a crime to be a peaceful protester.
That is a chilling of First Amendment rights, and that would be a basis on which to challenge the law on its face.
First Amendment attorneys, one of whom you just heard from, say that if the law does discourage people from peacefully protesting, that could be grounds for a civil rights lawsuit. The former president of the Florida ACLU tells us that organization is almost certainly going to bring some kind of legal action against this new law. But any lawsuit could take time. In reality, this law may have its first test much sooner if there are any large-scale demonstrations in the wake of the Chauvin verdict. I'm Jay O'Brien, CBS 12 News.
At 6:37 now, I want to turn to our coronavirus coverage. By the end of the week, Johnson & Johnson vaccine could resume distribution. This comes after the single-dose shot was paused last week, so rare blood clots possibly associated with the vaccine could be investigated. Dr. Anthony Fauci says distribution will most likely return this week after an advisory meeting panel on Friday.
Meanwhile, that facility that caused a major mix-up in vaccines is being told to stop making them. The Food and Drug Administration is asking the Baltimore facility to stop production after they accidentally mixed parts of two vaccines together and ruined 15 million doses. Regulators are investigating the Emergent Biosolutions plant that were making both Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca vaccines. All the products in the facility are being quarantined, and officials stopped the production of the AstraZeneca shot. The Biden administration put Johnson & Johnson in charge of the plant in hopes of fixing their vaccine production.
Right now, Florida lawmakers are working to ban vaccine passports. A House committee approved a proposal that would prevent government agencies from issuing COVID passports and stop businesses from requiring customers to show one. Under the proposal, if businesses, schools, or state agencies require people to show proof of vaccination, they could get fined up to $5,000.
And in the next few weeks, the State Department is expected to issue a Level 4 do not travel advisory. In an official statement, the agency said the risk of COVID-19 while traveling remains too high and urges Americans to reconsider all travel abroad. It's the highest warning and usually reserved for war-torn countries. The alert comes just 2 weeks after the CDC updated its travel recommendations, giving the green light to anyone who is fully vaccinated.
Still ahead, toxic troubles, new concerns that the Treasure Coast could be on the verge of an algae crisis, where blooms are growing now, and how lawmakers are working to stop it.
Oh, hate to see that. And New York Governor Andrew Cuomo under the microscope again. The new accusations of writing his new book at the taxpayers' expense. You're watching.
Right now, Jeffrey Epstein's former Palm Beach mansion is no longer. A developer tore down the house after buying the property for $18.5 million in March. The plans to build a new home there. The late convicted sex offender purchased the home in 1990.
New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo is facing a new investigation on whether he broke any state laws in the process of writing and promoting his book on leadership in the pandemic. Media reports have raised concerns that staff members may have helped Cuomo write the book on the clock at taxpayers' expense. Cuomo's office has previously said that workers helped with the book, but it was on their own time. Cuomo has been embroiled in scandal, accused of unwanted advances by multiple women and underreporting nursing home deaths related to the pandemic.
Check this out, historic moment. Space exploration soared into a new era when NASA's Ingenuity helicopter took flight over Mars, lasted just 39 seconds, but that's all it took to make history. The first helicopter to fly on another planet. Lauren, they only wanted to get 30 seconds out of this, so they got a little bonus time there, 39 seconds.
Yeah, big deal that they're able to see that this can in fact fly because the atmosphere is much thinner on Mars.
We need to get Perseverance a little bit better at taking the video of it, because the video of it happening wasn't like great. So hopefully
Details,
next time
Matt,
we'll get
come on.
like better video.
You build a camera and send it to Mars.
Send it to Mars.
Send it to Mars.
Come on, these are the best scientists in the world. They should be able to do it.
I know what you mean. Yeah, so very exciting to finally be able to see that. And as more test flights are done, of course, we'll have more video from that. Live look outside from Boca. Yeah, it's a cloudy one out there this morning. It's not the best boating and beach day for you on this Tuesday. Warm out there, but a lot of rain. Winds out of the south-southwest around 10 to 15 knots, with the waves breaking between about 1 and 3 feet. Low tides this morning at 9. We'll hit high tide at around 2:50 this afternoon. Moderate risk of rip currents across the area for us today. Again, those waves between about 1 and 3 feet. The Lake O level is at just under 14.5 feet. We're going to see clouds out there today, and then those thunderstorms will be developing as we move closer to the afternoon. Light chop out on Lake Okeechobee, but again, it's not the best boating and beach day for us. You'll see here on radar more rain, more storms moving through the area, more cloud coverage expected out there today. Like I mentioned, I think today's going to be a little cloudier than yesterday, but we're going to be dealing with likely maybe just as much rainfall, if not even more, than what we saw on your Monday. Here's 11 o'clock this evening. Still going to be dealing with mostly cloudy conditions, on and off shower activity out there for us too. A little drier towards the end of the week, but our temperatures will stay in the 80s.
Time, temperature, weather on your screen at all times. Taking a look right now at our roads, and you can see traffic up to speed right now. This is up in Martin County by Salerno. No issues are right there on Cantor Highway, off Cantor Highway on the I-95 and the Turnpike. And then when we take a live look out at Glades Road and US 1 in Boca Raton, see some water there on the roads. No big deal, but still, it is a bit of a treacherous commute, so make sure that you are safe when you're out there driving.
We're keeping an eye on your health this morning as new guidelines for eligibility expand across the country. Those 16 and older can now get the COVID vaccine. But as medical reporter Liz Bonus explains, many younger people are still choosing to avoid it, and it's raising serious concern.
Hey there, hello to you. Half of all U.S. adults have now received at least one shot of the vaccine. But there are new concerns as states open up eligibility this week to more Americans that supply will exceed demand. Those who know what a difference this vaccine can make are asking those delaying getting the shot to reconsider.
With so much of the messaging still being that individuals who are younger and less vulnerable, are likely to survive a COVID infection, it's really difficult to convince them, that this is the way to go.
Kim Majik says since vaccines started for residents in her Kentucky long-term care facility, Boone Spring, the drop in cases and deaths has been dramatic. About 90% of those who live here got the vaccine.
Our team members are another story.
Just as with much of the country, younger people much more hesitant to get the vaccine, even if they work in healthcare. This has been especially true with the recent pause in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine due to blood clot concerns. But what providers want all of us to know, especially with the supply of Pfizer and Moderna expected soon to exceed demand?
Here's the bottom line. Getting a vaccine will help protect you. It will help protect others, and it will help us end this pandemic.
It also will help those who need to be protected be able to interact with people that they love again.
We've kept these, wonderful people in, isolation for over a year. Then we give them, some of their, God-given freedoms back. And because somebody is infected with COVID-19, they lose them again.
we also lose progress in stopping variants and moving forward with getting back to our everyday lives. Now, Dr. Fauci has announced that we will likely hear more on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine delay, at least by the end of the week. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus. We'll throw it back to you.
6:47 now the time, and this morning concerns are growing over the increasing amount of toxic blue-green algae that is now floating near Port Mayaca on Lake Okeechobee. 3 years ago, a widespread outbreak of blue-green algae caused a crisis along the Treasure Coast. The algae, which comes pouring out of Lake Okeechobee each summer, remains hazardous to both humans and animals in our area. Blue-green algae found just days ago near the port is 3 times more toxic than federal standards. But Colonel Andrew Kelly from the Army Corps of Engineers says it's too early to be concerned about another crisis.
Absolutely no indication right now of a repeat of 2018. The bottom line is the more information we get, the better off we can do.
Now, Congressman Brian Mast, who's been a vocal critic of the Army Corps, is asking them to stop or at least limit water releases from Lake O.
Today, a new mini golf course designed by Tiger Woods will be proposed in Delray Beach. The new business includes 2 18-hole miniature golf courses located along North Federal Highway. It's right between South Lake Avenue and Bond Way. It would feature a restaurant, children's play area, and outdoor games.
Do you putt like
Tiger be there for lessons on the regular?
Unlikely. Tom Brady keeps on pushing the old adage that Father Time is undefeated. The 43-year-old is hinting he could be back on the field by June for the Tampa Bay Bucs minicamp. Quarterback is recovering from an off-season knee surgery after he won the Super Bowl. Brady said he isn't quite ready to get back in the game like now, but a few more weeks of rehab are still needed. 2 months after getting the surgery, he says he's feeling good and on track with his recovery.
Watching these kids play together and then watching these guys, have their family members at the game, I think was a big deal.
Yeah, this is cool. So, West Palm Beach-based Kaiser University had to wait over 5 months for the playoffs to start. But over the weekend, the Seahawks beat Alabama Christian in the first round. The NAIA held its regular season back in the fall. But then the pandemic put the postseason on hold from December all the way to April. So back then, Kaiser went undefeated, a perfect 7-0 in the regular season, and apparently the long wait didn't slow any of their momentum.
Being in the locker room before the game and talking to these guys, and then we get to go out and play a game, and then you've got the game that, any momentum shifts and guys fighting for each other and overcoming adversity and making mistakes. 160 some odd days off, it gave us a chance to really reflect on our first 7 games.
Coach Sosha doing a great job. Kaiser plays the next round of the playoffs Saturday at 12:30. Can you imagine waiting 5 months after the season to then play in the playoffs?
A long time.
Wow. All right, everything you need to know in 3 minutes coming up.
Weather, traffic, all the day's top stories. The Morning Rush is next.
And now, The Morning Rush, sponsored by your South Florida Honda dealers.
All right, here we go. All the big stories happening right now.
Everything you need to know to start the day. Kara starts the Morning Rush.
Jury deliberations will resume this morning in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. This is cities all across the nation prepare for possible unrest whenever that verdict is delivered. Right now, there are more than 3,000 National Guard troops deployed in Minneapolis. The former police officer accused of killing George Floyd last May.
Derek Chauvin's defense asked the judge for mistrial over comments by California Representative Maxine Waters at a weekend rally in Minnesota. She encouraged protesters to stay on the street if they don't see a guilty verdict. The judge denied the motion for mistrial, but said her comments could be grounds for an appeal.
A new anti-riot law signed by Governor DeSantis is now in effect in Florida. Now, if someone is arrested during a violent protest, they could face much more serious criminal charges. Critics of the law say people will be more hesitant to protest peacefully and it could impose First Amendment rights.
If you've gotten the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and experience any new symptoms, the Centers for Disease Control is recommending you see a doctor right away. These symptoms could include headache, backache, stomach pain, shortness of breath, leg swelling, or red spots on the skin. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine could resume distribution by the end of the week. That's when health officials are set to meet again.
look in Wellington, where a vaccine pop-up will begin at 9 a.m. You see some people already beginning to arrive, get in line. So they had to move this distribution from the Wellington Green Mall to the park because of weather. But the food distribution is still going on at the Wellington Mall starting at 8 a.m. And people who get the food there will then be given priority to sign up for the Pfizer shot here at the Village Park Gym. It's all on a first-come, first-served basis.
And let's take another check on that forecast. A very gloomy start to the morning, looking live from the Boca cam. Very cloudy outside. We're looking west now from the airport cam. Couple of breaks in the clouds out there, but for sure dealing with a lot of rainfall this morning. I think today will be a little cloudier and maybe even at times a little rainier than what we dealt with yesterday. Rain continues to fall across Palm Beach County this morning, up and down I-95, the Turnpike and 441. This continues to move off towards the northeast. Heavier downpours right now up near Sebastian. We're all going to be dealing with the possibility of some rain out there for the day today. You'll notice on the southwestern side of the state too, look at all of this rainfall that's going to continue to build and move on shore. Thunderstorms well off the coast of Naples there, but this is all moving northeast. So we're going to keep seeing all that rainfall out there for the rest of the day today, along with a few thunderstorms. Temperatures this morning right near 70 degrees, but a strong south-southwest wind does still allow us to get quite warm. We are headed into the low to mid 80s for the afternoon. And again, that on and off rainfall will be continuing across the area through the day.
Well, we hope you can give yourself some extra time as you head out. Take it slow on the roads. It is a soggy morning out there.
Bring your umbrellas too. All right, enjoy it. And try to find a way to enjoy this soggy day. And of course, we're back in 30 minutes with another local update. We will see you then.